We wanted to create a fun, non-judgmental space where women can talk about their shared experiences.
Here, we will normalize the challenges we face as females living in a society that dictates unrealistic and outdated expectations on what a woman should be.
Together, we hope to cultivate a supportive community of women who empower one another to courageously live unapologetically.
A quick disclaimer before we get started. Although Cindy and Danielle are licensed therapists, this podcast is not to be interpreted as therapy or a replacement of therapeutic services. It is strictly a conversation between two women about their experiences in the world. If you like today's episode, please make sure to like and subscribe below. Also, follow us on all of our social media platforms at Unapologetically Females. With that being said, we hope you enjoy this episode.
Okay.
And it's just more like making awareness, we have fall break and we have spring break, and please don't take the week before fall break off to go to Disneyland when you can do it on fall break. And they don't want to do it on fall break because everybody else is going to Disneyland on fall break, so they want to go the week before fall. You know what I mean? It's like those things were like, okay,
Well, and as parents too, we're all learning for the first time, but we don't think about the social emotional piece like you were talking about. That if they're gone the week before spring break and then they're gone spring break, they've been gone for 2 weeks. So they're missing out on what's going on in the classroom, what's going on with their friends on the playground, what's going on. So they have to integrate back in for 2 weeks. And kids, 2 weeks is a long time.
Yeah, it's the week before they're gone, then they have to come back in the week after,
Right.
You're right. And then we always laugh because parents were like, just send the work. And I'm like, I'm kindergarten. I can't just send you with 5 worksheets. I don't do all that.
Right.
So it's,
Right.
so we focus on attendance as a school, but not perfect attendance because we don't want you coming to school sick. And guess what? The kids who have perfect attendance have come to school with something they shouldn't have come to school with at some point.
Right. That
The fever where they're like, no, but my mom gave me Tylenol this morning, or like,
yeah. And they're so honest. And mom, they're getting out of the car and mom's like, don't tell them that you're sick.
I threw up today.
Yep. And the first
Mom's
thing
like,
they tell you.
Yep.
I don't know. I am the problem, though. I'm the problem parent.
You're not the problem
I'm the parent that's like, yeah, we're going the week before.
Yep. See? Thank you.
100%.
Well, you're just learning, Danielle. It's okay.
It's okay. I'll still do it. It's okay.
But you know what? You're owning it. Don't lie.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't. Yeah. But I also see the point of like especially now at the age that my daughter's at, is like that the social emotional piece, or like that friend piece is like so.
Yes.
Hard for them to navigate.
And so that can get complicated.
And then it only gets harder as they get older. Like my daughter was sick a couple weeks ago, and she's like, if I'm sick today, I miss 6 classes. You know what I mean? Like, so if you miss 3 days, you're not just missing 3 days, you're missing 18 classes. Like she does that math in her head. So she gets stressed out because it is so much harder as they get older.
I remember that when I was in like high school, it was like, it's easier for me to just go than it is for me to be absent.
Yes.
When I got to a certain, grade level.
Well, that catching up creates so much anxiety.
Yeah.
And some teachers just are like, you were gone, like you missed it type of thing. And there's no makeup and your grade's affected. And some are wonderful and they bend over backwards. So it is a lot harder. And they do. Like I give my daughters, they get 1 a year, like a mental health day. Like some days you're just choose wisely, you know?
Yeah.
Because we all need it.
Right.
For sure.
For sure.
And we don't want you there if you shouldn't be there.
So we digressed a little bit because we were
did.
talking
Sorry.
about no, it wasn't you,
Teacher and
it
me.
was all of us. We were talking about you as a single mom.
Yes.
What do you feel was the biggest life lesson you learned being a single mom? Or one of? I'm sure you learned a lot.
I think that's changed. So like if I'm just going off of right now, I keep saying like I feel like as much as I try to be both, I'm not both. So like I'm not, I keep thinking like, oh, I just love them twice as much or do, you know what I mean? Like that whole horse baloney. But I just can't do it. And they suffer on that part. So I think that's the biggest one, is trying to feel as if you have to do that. And I can't.
Right. Yeah.
That took many years for me to finally be able to say that. And I can't believe I just said that on tape. So
Well, good for you.
can we erase that?
If you are serious, yes. But I think it's really empowering for other women to hear that, who are going through the same thing and trying to be both. And you're right. It's not possible. You can't split yourself in two and make two of you, or two parents out of you.
You alone are enough. You know, like your love alone, you as an individual are enough for your
That's
children.
a hard one, for sure. I think
know.
for anybody, even if you are married, I feel like probably moms feel like we're never.
Am I doing it right?
Enough.
Am I good
Yes.
enough?
Yes.
Am I absolutely.
Because then,
Absolutely.
especially now, we're like, well, how did that mom do it? And you know what I mean? Like that
Oh
mom.
yeah, and then it's all over social media
Yep.
and Pinterest, and yeah.
I've thrown my hands in the air too, like with some things. My kids, I don't know, one of them told me, well, so and so's parents, and I'm like, well, they got the better parents then.
Yep. Then pack your bags. I used to say that to my girls. Pack your bags. You can move in. Maybe they have a spare bedroom.
Yeah.
Because they don't see all the pieces, and we
Right.
don't see all the pieces.
Right.
Right.
But I think that's just hard because you want everything for your kids.
Yeah.
And so, like, it sucks to be so tired all the time
Right.
and still feel like, well, I didn't do that. That was not a good day. And that sucks.
Yeah.
That's where that mindset needs to change, right? Like, I didn't do that today, but here's what I did do. And here's what I'm grateful for that I did do, or that turned out right today.
They're alive. I got them alive today.
Even if it's just that. Yes.
right.
And that is a big piece, especially right now with, where everybody is with mental health stuff. Like, that is a big piece, but I just don't feel that way. I don't know. That's hard.
So you said early on you initially co-parented and had them a week on and a week off. How was that for you as you adjusted to that new situation of having a week off? Because for me, I think of that and it's like, that is such a daunting thought to be like, I don't see my kids for a week. I've never not seen my kids for a week.
You had a hard time for 2 days when we went to Miraval.
Yeah. So it's like,
I'm not making fun.
yeah, no, it's real.
It's real.
How did you work through that? What did that look like? What was that? What did that feel like? Like, I just, because I know a lot of people that do it, like, whether it's week on, week off or 3 days or whatever it may be. What was that like for you?
Well, the blessings, I had many blessings in the fact that I teach at the school that they were both going to.
That's
So I could have like eyes on them.
Yeah.
Phones, so we could text, which was also a double-edged sword because then they could text me and I could hear, and you know what I mean? Like just hear things. And it always would start off on Fridays because they would switch on Fridays. So I'd come home from work on Fridays and they would already be, Fridays they'd bring their stuff to school and then go to his house after. And so Friday I'd come home and my house would be clean and I'd be so excited and I'd sit on the couch. And then literally by Saturday morning, I'm like, how are you guys doing? What are you doing? What are you doing today? Right? Because then it's just, you don't turn off momming. I mean, maybe people do. I don't know how.
Right.
That's not making me sound like I'm amazing or not. I don't know how to turn it off. So like every day I was like, what'd you eat? What are you wearing? Did you brush your teeth? I was like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
And then we did that for so long and then that just didn't work. So then they moved in with me and then that's just not.
Yeah. Just because they're not physically with you doesn't mean that they're not still always mentally with you.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, they're always in our headspace. They're always our first thought, our first concern. Yeah.
And not to undermine what I thought was happening over there, but I kept snacks and toothbrushes and deodorant and things in my classroom. And I'd be like, if you didn't eat, come see me. Or you know what I mean? Like that whole thing. Like it's just because.
But you do that as a teacher too, which.
That's true.
Yeah.
But you just want to make sure that they're starting off their day on the right foot. Like,
Right.
have you eaten? Did you brush your teeth?
Right.
Did you remember to wear a bra? I don't know. Like those things.
Right. Right.
So.
Yeah.
So then at some point that switched and they came with you full time, which then I'm assuming that brought a different layer of complexities, having them full time, but by yourself now.
Yes. I mean, at least before there was, a week where financially that was a little bit different because at least there was a week of not groceries or, you know what I mean? Like that whole thing. I mean, I have 100%. So definitely we had to find our way, but it was what was right for them.
Yeah.
So as hard as it just was good for them.
Yeah. What's your support system look like?
My friends, I have amazing friends. I'm sitting next to one.
That's kind.
No, I mean, it's true. And like we've talked about the being enough mom versus dad type of thing. For me, that's when I have to sometimes call our friend Debbie. I have to call her and be like, this is what happened. this is what I said. Did I do that right? Because if your spouse is there, you guys can deal with your kid, and then you two can go in the bedroom and be like, dude, you did not handle that right. You know what I mean? Or like, you shouldn't have said this or whatever. I'd be like, I don't know. Did I do that right? Did I not do that right? So sometimes I would just need to call and be like, here's what I said. Here's the situation. Do you think I handled that right, or should I have done something different? Because I don't know. Like, there's nobody else there being like,
well, even as not even that, and also going like, that was freaking hard. Can you believe what a freaking asshole they're being right now?
Right.
Yes, because you want someone to be like, okay, they're just being a bitch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they're just being whatever.
Yeah.
You need to have someone be, and so then I'm like, maybe they're not. Maybe it's just me.
Right. Yeah, that's...
You need somebody to say it wasn't just you.
Yeah.
And you did a good job in that. Yeah.
Right.
Or you could have done that a little better.
Because especially since, like we said before, I wasn't raised this way. Like, just to give you a good example, the other night we were having a conversation, and I asked a question, and my older daughter came back with, you know, like, hey, it really made me feel guilty that, you know, you're making me, like, that whole, like, I'm so glad that she has her amazing mental health words. But I was like, all I did was say, it was an easy decision to say what you want. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't wrap my head around it. And so she was speaking her words, which was great and beneficial. But then she walked away, and I'm like, did anybody else hear that? Like, please tell me that was ridiculous. Like, I was just hoping someone would be like, that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But, like, I was proud that she spoke, but I was like, are you kidding me? You know?
Yes.
Like, I love the mental health part.
Yes.
But sometimes it comes back, and I'm like, no, just go do it. You know? That
I
type of thing.
totally get that so much.
So hard.
In my bones, I feel it. Yes.
I'm validating you, but you're being dumb. Just go do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes. I saw...
Good job on that, but still listen to me.
Yes.
It's so hard. And this is my life, is just like in memes or stupid videos.
Me too, by the way. You're speaking my language all day long.
I saw one that was like, I come from the era where I'm like my parenting is part like gentle parenting and part gangster. And it's like, it's so true, where I'm like, I try so hard to do the, you know, the mental health, like just being informed and allowing, you know, my daughter is very vocal. My son is too. I'll give him, like, as far as, you know, telling me how they feel.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know?
Which is what we teach them to do.
For sure.
But
we
then
don't really mean
sometimes,
it.
no, we don't mean it. No.
Now my son will tell, like, Mommy, you are making me very angry right now. And it's like, I want to tell him some days, I don't care.
Yes. And sometimes I do say that, like, well, you can be mad at me. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yes, exactly. But it is. And then there's the other side of me where it's like, if you cross this line, like one of them, I won't say, but it is the older one, broed me or something. Yeah. I'm like, I looked at her and I'm like, I don't know who you think you're talking to, but it's not me. Like, because that whole respect thing, growing up, like, if I spoke to my parents disrespectfully or talked back or duded them or anything like that, that wasn't flying in my house. And so, I don't know. Now it's interesting now of like having this balance of like, okay, I've empowered you to use your voice. We are trying to guide that and mold you into being able to use your voice and tell us how you feel and all of that. And also,
there's still some traditional values that need to hold
that
true.
I can flip my switch real quick and get real gangster on.
Well, and I feel like I try to, and you're probably going to start to twitch, but like, I feel like I try to hear what they're saying, but also be like, I know, but you do need to suck this part up. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like we have given them such a voice that sometimes mine don't know how to process just doing it. And like, I mean, I was the youngest of 5 kids. I don't know if, and my mom was an amazing stay-at-home mom and she, whatever, but I still raised myself a little bit, right? Like we just, I didn't go tell my parents everything that came to my mind, every boo-boo, every whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we just didn't, that was just different back then. And just hearing my girls be like, you know, hey, you didn't do this. And I'm like, well, the way you told us, I'm like, it's not about that. It's, you know what I mean? So I just have such a hard time. And I'm like, I'm listening. I hear you. But
I was just having this conversation with somebody the other day, and I used to say to my kids, go be a problem solver.
Yes.
Right? Like they would ask me how to do something or would I do something. And at times I would just I would just say, be a problem solver.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we don't teach them how to figure out how to get their way out of or fix something, how are they going to adult?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know?
And they're not. Many are not.
And they're not. And we've read studies on like children's imagination.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about this in another podcast, but children's imagination has been hindered from social media and computers and technology and all of that. But imagination built capability to figure your way out of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to think outside of the box and to think of ways to do things differently in order to fix a problem, to be a problem solver. And now it's like, well, I'll Google that.
Yeah.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Google will solve it for me.
Yes. I mean, that's why
literally-
we're in this generation of we're just remaking movies and remaking songs.
Yes, it's so true.
Nobody's creative anymore because
Right.
we've had such structured play dates that kids aren't like my parents never structured a play date. We had a friend come over and they didn't even know where we
Do
were
what
for
you
2
wanna
hours.
do. Yeah.
But now it's like
yeah.
from 4 to 4:04, we're going to do this craft.
Yeah.
From 4:04 to 4:08, we'll do a snack. Like it's so,
I know.
so that you're right, that creativity. And then they don't know how to solve problems. Like I tell my kindergartners, we do the stop, walk, and talk, right? Like they come over and it's like, did you tell the friend to stop? If they didn't stop, did you walk away? If it kept going, did you talk to the teacher? Because I'm like, why did you walk across the playground to come tell me he's throwing sand at you? Turn to him and say, stop throwing sand. And they're like, oh, okay. And, you know, they like that whole thing of just
Right.
because, yes,
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine being at any of our jobs having to ask somebody to solve all the problems that we have come our way. We have to figure out how to do it.
Right.
Right.
I'm really big on grit. Like I think that that's that quality. I just think that if you can build grit in a kid, like you're forced to, there's something within you that as an adult it will carry to have to just power through, because there are times in your life that you're just going to have to power through
Many times.
regardless of feeling like shit, regardless of being sad, regardless of being tired, regardless, like you're just going to have to power through, put your head down and do, right? And that's the part where like trying to balance as a parent of being like, I hear you, I see you, I recognize your feelings, I validate them, all of the things. I will hold space for them. I will do all the things, right? Like what I know, what I teach, you know, as a therapist, all of that. And also it's like, I feel like if I don't do the other side, or my fear is if I also don't hold them accountable or make them problem solve and critically think and all of that, they're just going to be lost in this world of when something doesn't go my way or I'm feeling sad, I can just lay in bed all day.
I was going to say, I'm
Yes,
just going to go back
I
to
give
bed.
up.
And
I just give up.
I
totally
do
give
see
up.
that
And
in
it's
my practice,
like,
yeah.
and so that's and I recognize, obviously, especially like at the age that my kids are, it probably feels to them like I'm being tough or I'm being, you know, the hard parent or whatever. But it's like, no, this is life, you know, and you're not going to want to do many things and you're going to feel like crap many times in your life.
Yeah.
And people are going to say things to you and you're not going to like the way they said them,
Yes.
what they said, how they said it, when they said it, who they said it in front of. And you're still going to have to carry on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's the biggest, you know, like trying to figure out the balance of you've got to be resilient and have that grit, you know, build grit within you to power through as an adult and as a teenager and just in life in general. And also, you know, hold space for the feelings.
Yes, and that's probably what you guys deal with so much. And, you know, just trying to, I don't know how you guide that for sure. But it's like you're saying, it's the validating, but also being like, I try to tell my kids, just because you don't want to do something doesn't mean it's going to go away. Like,
Right.
But it's our job. The reason that parents send their kids to people like us is because it's our job to say, okay, this is hard. And so it kind of, we validate your feelings and we understand that. And you can do this. We're kind of like a third-party cheerleader in a way,
yes,
right?
you're the unbiased person.
The unbiased person who says, you're capable, you can do this, you know, and let's map this out. How is that going to happen? And so, you know, I never think that it's bad for parents to ask for help from, it doesn't have to be a therapist. It could be a grandparent. It could be a friend. It could be anybody.
Teacher.
A teacher. Yeah. Well, you guys have enough on your plate, but
No, it's like the whole adage of they listen to somebody else.
they listen to
Right.
somebody
and
else.
you guys are
Exactly.
qualified in how to say it. better than sometimes
days.
I would be like,
Some days we say it right.
suck it up, kid, is not very therapeutic. So for sure.
One of the hardest things that I, as a parent, had to learn, and my therapist told me this, she said, sometimes you have to let your kids fail. That is so hard for me because
It's so hard for everyone. Nobody wants it. We talk like, oh my God, we're just totally going to let them do it. And then we can't.
Yeah, no, I talk a big game, sure, but I am the first one to rush right in there and save them. It's really, really hard for me.
I had a friend tell me one time that his therapist told him that, or called him out essentially, and was like, your happiness is dependent upon the state of your children. Like, and it was like,
It's true
whoa.
though.
And he was, his response was absolutely.
It's true.
It is.
Yeah.
Your kids are sad. You're sad. If somebody hurts your kid, you want to get them.
So circling back to support system. So between your being a teacher, which is not we talked about this too, like not a traditional 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. I mean, you're there, I'm sure, way before school starts, and you're there after, and summers, and you're working. And then along with your treatment course that you've had now for the last few years, on top of being a single parent, how have you been able to manage all this? And what does that look like within your community, your support system, in your world? How have you walked through this?
So, Cindy mentioned me being private before, and I don't like to share like I said, raised by a Navy man, we keep our problems to ourselves. And I don't like people knowing my business, and I definitely don't like asking for help. But if I hadn't, there's just no way I would be where I am now. I mean, I think of going through treatment by myself, and I had to have my friend come over every day because I could not physically do my own binding, like my own after surgery. And then this friend knew this organization, and now I'm really attached to this one cancer organization. Now they've become my lifeline, and then because of that, now I get to mentor people. I feel like one person that I've relied on so much has brought me to all these things, and then you get to meet other friends that have other support systems. And then now I have, unfortunately, friends who are in the same situation I have been in, so I can help guide along that way. And so that has been a big lesson for me, is I can ask for help, but then now I feel like I'm indebted, and I want to be able to help somebody else because I know how hard that was. I remember our friend who had cancer right before me. She was one of my second phone calls, and she just hit the nail on the head. And she's like, I'm not going to tell you what everybody else is going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you that it's all going to be great and everything's fine. She's like, I'm just going to tell you this sucks, and I'm pissed. And I was like, that's what I need to hear, right?
Yeah.
Because she knew what you want to hear, that type of thing. So I've had to suck it up. And then I have also learned that I have raised my girls to be proud and private, but they need a support system too. So I've done them justice by trying to be so proud. So I've had to swallow that pill quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, I think message as women, and we talked about this in an earlier episode, of the message for women is put your head down and do it all, and just get through it, and, don't complain about it. And, if something's thrown at you, you do it and you fix it and you move on. And asking for help may be more of a female trait. Not asking for help may be more of a female trait, because in society, we've just kind of brushed over that women are supposed to be good at everything. We're supposed to be good at raising the kids. We're supposed to be good at whatever career we choose. We're supposed to be good at, mowing the lawn. We're supposed to be good at, anything that we pick up or need to do. We're supposed to do it and do it well. And that's where that word perfectionism comes in a lot too, which, I do not like. But so I think it's a huge attribute, and kudos to you for seeing that about yourself, admitting I had a hard time asking for help. I had a hard time reaching out, and I taught my kids that, right? And now you can reverse that.
Oh, I hope so.
And teach them that they don't have to do everything on their own, and they don't have to be perfect at it, and they don't have to. Life is gonna, you said earlier, life is gonna throw you shit, and it's okay to reach out and say, hey, this sucks and this is hard and I need somebody to help me through this.
Yeah.
Yeah. What has been, or what would you say to the mom, woman going through, cancer treatment, or just being diagnosed? Like, what would your message be to that person?
Honestly, I think the best message would be to find someone who's gone through it, because we'll know the resources, we'll know what to say. You know what I mean? Because I think everybody has good intentions. Like,
Right.
You're a fighter, you're the strongest person. Like, my friends know that I've now become to hate the word strong, because everyone's like, you're so strong. I'm like, I don't want to be.
Right.
Like, I keep trying to say that. Like, I've never wanted to be that. So I think if you are able to find someone who can cry with you or not give you that, everyone has good intentions, like you'll be fine, but you want the person that will be like, hey, here's who you call. This is what you need to buy. This is what you need to do. Like those things, that's always my best advice on that piece.
Because I'm sure in that moment, all you're looking for is someone to sit with you in it. And also just like, what can I control?
Yeah. Because you can't control so much.
Right. And so it's like the person that's like, this is who you call. This is the next step. Here's what we need to go buy. Like, those are all achievable things you can go and do.
Yeah.
And so it makes so much sense, hearing you say that. On the other side, so single mom, what would you say to the single moms out there who are grinding, every day, especially to those that are doing it by themselves, that don't have, 50-50 custody and things like that? What is your message to a mom that's like, oh, this is so freaking hard. How am I going to do this?
That's a hard one. Definitely having a support if you can, right? Having someone that maybe you can commiserate with. I think that's maybe a better way to put it, because you always feel shame and guilt that, your other friends don't understand. And so maybe having somebody in that same boat. But I think the biggest thing would to remember why you're doing this. Are you in this boat because you chose to get divorced for this reason? And, keeping that example for your kids, like that's a big help for me, is knowing why we did what we did. So that way my girls would not repeat that.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I think those are really important messages. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. It looks like did you have another
I had
question?
one last
Go
thought.
ahead. Yeah.
Just, I loved how you said, I don't want to be strong. And I think that it's important for us all to know that we don't have to be strong every day. It's okay. It's not a sign of weakness or inability if we just aren't strong sometimes, and we need to break down, or we need to ask for help, or we need to reach out. I love that you said that. Like, I don't want to be strong.
I don't. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Very tired.
Yeah. I love that. And that's okay.
Thank you. It's good. As it sounds so stupid, but oh my God, I'm going to cry. You have to hear that. Like, everybody needs to hear that.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Yep.
Well, you're amazing. Thank you for being on this Inspiring Women's series. And I am honored to meet you, not only as an amazing teacher, but as a survivor and as somebody who has just pushed through and is an amazing mother. And you are enough. You are.
Thank you. It was lovely to meet you. Thank you for having me. I hope I didn't get us too off course.
No,
No,
it was
we
amazing.
appreciate you.
Yes, we do. As always, I'm Danielle.
And I'm Cindy. Thanks for listening.